the DJ, at the beginning of hip hop, the DJ was in the forefront and the MC was kind of secondary.
Support.
And I noticed by the mid to late 80s, there was like a riff, like you had Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Air B, and the MCs became more prominent and they became the center stage and the main focus. And it seems, you know, Spinderella, Salt and Pepper, it's like a lot of the DJs started to get disgruntled because they wanted to be equal pay as part of the group, but they wasn't getting paid, and there was like a lot of breakups. And this, were you around that, or does that make sense to you? Are you familiar with?
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, because you look at Richie Rich, you know, that's why he left, you know, them guys and stuff, because he told me they wouldn't pay him. You know, he was traveling with Third Base and they just wasn't paying him. And then you have a cat like Cutmaster DC, who was incredible, you know, on the turntables, and he was doing his thing on the mic as well, doing his own production. He was a one-man show, and I think he did that just to avoid all the madness, you know what I'm saying? So you had Dougie Fresh, Chillwell, and Barry B, you know, so a lot of cats had dope DJs, but like you said, the gears shifted to where the rapper became the front person on vinyl. And, you know, the DJs played the background, but they wanted great DJs behind them to support them. So that was a big thing. You know, Cash Money and Marvelous. You know, everywhere you had the rappers, but they wanted top-notch DJs behind them. And even like with Miz, when they won the competition, they put them with Fresh Go. And, you know, so the labels started, that was like a trend where they would have these competitions, and the best DJ and the best rapper, they would put them together. That didn't necessarily work. You know, Miz and Fresh Go, two super talents, didn't really do much. You know, Tommy Boy thought it was a good idea, which it probably was, but I don't think there was a mesh there. You know, it really didn't happen. So
it wasn't organic.
It wasn't organic, you know. And I remember doing an interview for uncut.com, and later, you know, I was just talking, and I guess later on, Robbie Edelson, the owner of the label, of the site, reached out to me and he said, "Yo, is this you?" And he was doing an interview with Fresh Go, and Fresh Go was talking about he went to Brooklyn Tech, and Cut Creator was there. And so, you know, a lot of cats, that's how I met G-Rap, because everybody knew the Cut Creator was working with LL Cool J. He was the real DJ, and they were coming around trying to get on. And so it was the same thing with Fresh Go. He was living in Brooklyn. He met him in school and was like, "Yo, can I come out and check you out on the turntables and stuff? You know, let me spit for you a little bit." And he's like, "Sure." And so him and his boy came out there to watch him, and he was like, "Yo, this dude was super nice on them tables." And then I show up, and I was a little kid with a big afro, always had bubblegum in my mouth, you know? And I'm just standing there watching, and he was like, "Yo, Drew, get the mic." And so I got on the mic and started rapping. And I wasn't competing. I didn't know these dudes were rap. I didn't know Fresh Go was a rapper. I didn't know who he was. I just thought it was some cats coming to visit. I didn't know where they were from, but I just got on and started doing my thing. And he's telling the story like, "Yo, this little kid walked in the house and got on the mic and blew me away. He was like, he was the nicest kid I ever heard in my life. Like, where is this dude at?" And so he was like, all I remember is he said something about if I had my own month, he would call it Drew Simba. And so he thought that I was saying my name was Drew Simba, but it wasn't. And so the dude hit me up and he's like, "Is he talking about you?" I was like, "Yeah, that was me." I didn't remember it though, like I said, because he wasn't there. He didn't come there to battle me. He was just there checking out Cut Creator. But it was interesting that he mentioned he kept that with him for a long time. And, you know, I still haven't talked to him though, but the guy told him who it was. So it was very, very interesting. Like I said, the cats that would meet Cut Creator knew he was a beast on the turntables, nothing to play with. So, and that's how I met G-Rap. My man, Dog, brought him around. He was trying to get on, you know, he brought him to Cut Creator. And then all of us just connected because G-Rap was going uptown. So if you think of old school artists, everybody's thinking Kool Moe Dee and Melly Mel to be the best. They weren't. The best old school rapper was Silver Fox from the Fantasy 3. He was light years ahead of all of them. And you don't hear about him because he was so nice, they would never let them go to the shows and perform until, you know, they made the record It's Your Rock, and then Crash Crew stole the music and came out with Crashes on the Radio. And then they came out with Biters in the City. That's what people know Fantasy 3 for. But Silver Fox, the lead rapper, LL and Cool G Rap met him. And both of them told me, like, afterwards, like, "Yo, bro, there's nobody that can mess with that dude. That dude is ridiculous." And I was like, "What? Nah, you're bugging." is like, listen to me. There's nobody better than that cat. Like, he is the best person I ever heard in my life. Dude is insane. He doesn't sound like nobody you've ever heard because his cadence and his style. He was wording stuff and metaphors. He was doing stuff that Modi, nobody was doing. Melly Mel wasn't doing none of them. They was kind of rough, that old school stuff. Fox wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying? So he was crazy. And Tito from Fearless 4, me and him are tight. He told me, I asked him, that's the first thing I wanted to know. He said, man, that dude was older than us, Drew. He said he was like 29 years old when he hit the scene. We were like 15, 16. So he was more mature in his mind. He said he was coming to hip hop from another angle and we couldn't mess with him. He's like, he was just way ahead of us. None of us could touch him. DLB, myself, Tito, Special K. He's like, nobody can mess with that dude. Melly Mel, Kaz, none of them were in his realm. That dude was somewhere else. But, you know, he doesn't really get known. He talks about it, but a lot of people don't know about him. But all credit to that cat, man. Fox is a monster.